Why is rent so high in California? It's been a lifetime dream for many to live in the Golden State, and they have good reason to nurse the dream. Is the state of California not beautiful? Does it not have clement weather? What about the iconic cities there? These are just a few of the reasons many are dying to find somewhere to call their home in the state known for its beaches, surfing, and exotic wine, as well as its large economy and progressive politics. It's also the home of Hollywood. However, there's a challenge. The amount that Californians pay as rent is prohibitive. This prevents many from actualizing their dream. But why is rent so high in California? Please enjoy this video till the end. Generally, high cost of living. Before anyone starts to isolate rent, it is good to look at the bigger picture. Though one of the best states to live in the US, it's not one of the cheapest. According to data obtained from several reputable websites, the cost of living in the state is 1.24 times higher than the national average. It's the third most expensive in the US. Remember, rent is just a percentage of costs. While it has been considered before it was determined that the state is expensive, it should also be noted that all the higher prices of other goods and services will have a pulling effect on the rent. Thus, it is only logical to expect rent to be high in an absolute sense because the absolute costs of living in the state, including residents, are high. Not enough housing. Here, we just have to remember the effect of the law of demand and supply. Bearing that in mind will assist in making sense of the housing availability figures. According to the Housing Department in California, the state needs to build an average of 180,000 new houses every year before it can satisfy its almost 40 million population. However, the Golden State has managed to build about 90,000 houses or less yearly over the past 10 years. Imagine that. This means as the population increases each year, new houses are not built. It'll take only 2 or 3 years before the supply shortfall is felt. San Francisco and Los Angeles have been the worst hit by this disparity between supply and demand. In almost every big city in the state, houses aren't enough to go round. The available ones become more expensive. Developers not rising to changes. If a lack of housing is one of the factors driving the rent to the sky, would the simple solution not be just building more houses? How we wish it is as simple as that. Building houses is time-consuming rather than simplistic. Developers, lacking the patience to wait for return on investment, are hesitant to build new houses. Many of them prefer remodeling. That won't translate to more houses. As long as developers continue to fall to rise to the changes, the shortfall in housing supply will persist. In effect, the available ones will become unaffordable to buy and rent. Insufficient land. But then it's reasonable to ask, why are developers not rising to the challenge such that there are not enough houses in California? In reality, many factors can be held responsible for the failure of the state to keep up with the high housing demand in its cities. Yet, one of the biggest and almost insurmountable obstacles is a lack of available land on which houses can be built. Granted, California is an enormous state, yes, the third largest in the US by area, but the geographical composition of the vast majority of its square meters makes habitable areas scarce. Several hills and mountains spreading across its harsh desert make construction difficult or impossible. Nearly every nook and cranny of habitable land has been used up. Insufficient land means insufficient housing and, in effect, an increase in cost, including rent. High cost of construction. Now let's go to elementary economics. Land, labor, and capital are factors of production, we were taught. The total cost of all these determines the price. The high cost of materials and labor in California makes it difficult for developers to build new houses. Wages are higher in the state and building materials are costlier. Thus, it becomes more expensive to build in the state. Also, strict building codes that developers in the state have to abide by add extra costs to the buildings. There is also a push to make the designs more environmentally friendly in the state. That is another reason developers are not rising to the challenge. Any of them that is able to brave the odds and build houses under these circumstances will place high prices on them, and renting those houses would be anything but cheap. Growing demand for housing in urban areas. While California doesn't have enough housing, the challenge is complicated by the unevenness of its population density. While it's the most populous, it's the 11th most densely populated with about 250 per square mile in America. In reality, however, many Californians try to cram into cities. Of course, the high concentration of population in cities is not unique to California, but the case in the state is extraordinary. The Bay Area, for instance, which encompasses San Francisco and Oakland together with its surrounding suburbs, is a very good example. It is one of the fastest-growing areas in California. Meanwhile, between 2000 and 2007, it only made up 4% of California's growth. but between 2010 and 2017, the figure jumped to 20%. You can only guess what statistics will reveal in 2027. With this rush to the cities in the state, the demand for housing in urban areas will continue to grow, and rent there will not go down. Effect of Proposition 13. The effect of legislation on the availability and sufficiency of houses is huge from state to state and from country to country. An example of this is how Proposition 13 has affected homes and their prices in California. Proposition 13 was passed in 1978 with noble intentions, actually to ensure that every present and future Californian has a comfortable and affordable shelter. Its purpose was to reduce the amount of property tax payable to the state government. Unfortunately, while it prevented Californians from paying sky-high taxes on properties, it came with many other negative consequences. The local governments in the state have been compelled in their revenue drive to turn to other sources. They would rather build a lot of retail stores on vacant land instead of a set of residential apartments. Desire to maximize profit. The business world won't be quick to forget the market crash of 2009 as an after-effect of the economic meltdown. Property owners and realtors incurred several losses. They too are making efforts to regain their lost grounds each time the nation is working its way out of recession. Property management companies and real estate trusts have purchased thousands of empty houses. The best or cheapest way they believe they could maximize their return on investment is to regularly raise rents. This is one of the reasons for the high rent in California. Construction companies' preferences. Construction companies, like any other business, are profit-oriented to remain in business. They don't build as a charity, they build to sell and to the highest bidders. That is why they prefer to build housing for wealthy people. These will pay more and such houses are more profitable. The government doesn't kind of overprotect buyers of homes built for the wealthy. These companies have realized that they don't make as much money if they build affordable or rental housing. Meanwhile, they're being encouraged by overseas investors who purchase a lot of homes in many parts of the state, especially the San Francisco Bay Area. These investors do this also because they want to make money, and these homes are empty. That's why they're called ghost homes. The buyer's priority is making profits, not offering homes for rent. Fewer buyers, more renters. We also have to look at the changing trend driving more people to the renter market. Because of home prices, many buyers are not turning into renters. Fewer and fewer people are now renting instead of buying. Many who sold their homes with a view to buying another in the next few months found that the price of their dream home has jumped up. According to the California Association of Realtors, the median home price in the state in 2022 was $863,790. That was a 5.4% increase from June of the previous year. Some prospective home buyers are deciding to sell. They're investing elsewhere instead of buying another house. They are waiting until prices deflate. This also makes the rent prices go up. Please tell our community more and let's share knowledge. In your own opinion, why is rent so high in California? Kindly let us know in the comment section. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.